Is there a theological correlation between the night journey of Prophet Muhammad to heaven and the prophecy mentioned in Daniel 7:13? Please provide a detailed explanation to support this argument. The argument connecting the night journey of the Prophet Muhammad to heaven with Daniel 7 verse 13 is based on theological interpretations that draw parallels between the two events. Here's an explanation of this argument. 1. The night journey of Prophet Muhammad, الإسراء والمعراج. According to Islamic tradition, the night journey, الإسراء, and Ascension, المعراج, is a miraculous event in which the Prophet Muhammad was transported from Mecca to Jerusalem and then ascended through the heavens, meeting various prophets and eventually coming into the presence of Allah. 2. Daniel 7, verse 13 in the Bible. In the book of Daniel in the Old Testament of the Bible, specifically in Daniel 7, verse 13, there is a prophecy that says, "I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man, and he came to the Ancient of Days, that is, God, and was presented before him." This verse is often interpreted as a reference to a messianic figure. The argument connecting these two events revolves around the idea that both the night journey of Prophet Muhammad and the vision in Daniel 7 verse 13 involve a figure coming into the presence of God. Some scholars, particularly in comparative religion and interfaith dialogue, suggest that there are thematic similarities between these events. Divine revelation. In both situations, there is a significant meeting with the divine, as Prophet Muhammad ascends to the highest levels of heaven, and the individual in Daniel 7 verse 13 is brought before the Ancient of Days, a divine being. Prophetic roles. The figure in Daniel 7 verse 13 is often associated with a messianic or prophetic role. Similarly, Prophet Muhammad is considered the final prophet in Islam, and his night journey is seen as a confirmation of his prophethood. It's important to note that this argument is primarily a matter of theological interpretation and interfaith dialogue. Different scholars and religious traditions may have varying perspectives on the significance and connections between these events.
What is the perspective of Islam on the biblical figure of Daniel? In Islam, the perspective on the biblical figure of Daniel is quite respectful, though Daniel is not mentioned explicitly in the Quran. Despite this absence, Daniel is recognized and revered in Islamic tradition and literature, primarily through historical narratives and the hadith, sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad. Reverence in Islamic tradition. 1. Historical narratives. Daniel is considered a prophet by some Muslim scholars, though this is not universally agreed upon since he is not mentioned in the Quran. His story and qualities are often cited in Islamic works, drawing from Jewish and Christian traditions. Islamic texts sometimes include stories about Daniel, portraying him as a wise and devout man. These narratives often focus on his ability to interpret dreams, his steadfast faith, and his survival in the den of lions, mirroring the biblical account. 2. Literature and folklore. Daniel appears in various Islamic texts and is particularly noted for his prophetic wisdom and piety. In some Islamic stories, he is credited with great wisdom and miraculous abilities, similar to those found in the book of Daniel in the Bible. For instance, he is sometimes associated with the town of Susa in Iran, where a shrine said to be his tomb is located. 3. Interpretations and beliefs. In Islamic eschatology, Daniel is sometimes mentioned in discussions about the end times, although these references are more cultural and based on hadith literature rather than the Quran. His ability to interpret dreams and visions is often highlighted in Islamic teachings, paralleling the role he plays in the biblical narratives. In summary, while Daniel is not a Quranic figure, his legacy as a wise and devout servant of God is acknowledged and respected within Islamic tradition, where he is often considered a prophet and a righteous man. His stories are used to impart moral lessons and to exemplify a life of faith and integrity.